We'll now be taking you first to Hex, because if there is one ride here that absolutely fascinates people when they see it behind the scenes and blows their mind on the scale, it's Hex. So we're going to show you behind the scenes in Hex, and then take you over to 13 and walk you through the ride, round the station, into the drop zone, through the maintenance workshops, along through to the switch track where you can see that, and out. Now, it's going to be very complicated organising it, getting everybody through, so please bear with us. Please do what you're told, because it's not going to work if people are wandering off in different directions. So that's what we're planning, and I think Wayne and the team will be organising. So thank you very much indeed. Now, any questions?
Big round of applause for John. To ask John any questions you've got about 13 or any of the other rides which he's been involved with at the resort, or ask me any questions about marketing for 13 or anything else you'd like to know. I can't promise to give you the right answer, but we'll do our best.
Yes, we will. Yes.
Hello.
All right.
Wayne's going to come over and...
How do you think 13 compares with what other parks in, say, Europe are doing at the moment?
Right, let's look at what other parks in Europe are doing. As I say, the problem with the parks, the developments that have been taking place at places like, let's just put in that Gerstlauer Eurofighter, the competitor of Hyde Park. No, not Europa Park. The problem is these rides are not suitable for families, and what we wanted was to try to broaden the appeal of our coasters, and I was thrilled on opening day to see young families, although they were petrified before they went on, coming off 13, having thoroughly enjoyed it. And so I think this is where 13 has really scored. It is delivering across such a wide age group, not just coaster enthusiasts such as yourselves, but the family audience, which are terribly important to us. So I think that's how I see it. It differs from other coasters. You know, we can't build the high rides, we can't build the giga coasters here. The planners won't let us do it. So, you know, we have to do other things. We have to think outside the box. And I think 13 is, well, certainly seems to have hit the mark there.
Certainly has.
Yeah.
We'll come to you in a minute, sir.
Well, there are numerous rumours going out on the internet that there's supposed to be more effects in 13 that are currently installed. Is that true?
No.
No.
No, that basically is the ride as designed. We don't think there's any need for more effects. You know, the ride delivers, and we don't need to augment it with more effects. You all knew probably before you rode it what was going to happen. What you have to do is look at the average guest that goes on that ride that has not got a clue what's going to happen to them. And I only wish we were able to take each and every one of you into the crypt when the ride is running, because it's fascinating to watch people's faces. And when that ride drops and is then launched backwards, we don't need any more effects. Who's next?
Yeah, on the back of saying it's designed for families, which we think is absolutely brilliant. There was things going around about it being, you have to sign a declaration of age over the age of 18. I'd like to know.
Over to you, Morwenna, on this one.
Guilty as charged, I'm afraid. The challenge with new roller coasters is we always seek to try and get PR before we launch the ride, but that's incredibly difficult without a ride to show the press. So I know that I have been personally criticised on some forums for silly PR stories. The reason we do it is to get coverage, because we need to do that to get a bit of hype going about the ride before we've got something to show journalists in particular, and of course TV in particular. So that's why we did all of those press releases. It is of course totally untrue, as you know, those of you who've ridden it. You don't need an age declaration. I even had age concern on the phone when we did that, particularly because we did put an upper age limit on it as well of 55, and they weren't too impressed.
Who's next?
Was there a reason that you decided to go with Intamin, and was there a reason as well for the family coaster type track?
Yes. The reason for the family coaster track is it was very important that the train should be a lightweight train. For two reasons. First of all, the stresses and strains on the drop and the need to be able to decelerate that fairly smoothly using the magnetic brakes needed a lightweight train. And also we needed to be able to accelerate the train quickly backwards out of the drop and to be able to reverse it into a forward direction quickly. That meant that we had to go for a lightweight train, and hence the family coaster. So quite simply, that is the reason. If we had gone for a heavier train, then it would have needed far more massive braking machinery, far more massive hydraulics, and boy oh boy, the brakes and the hydraulics are massive enough as they are. So, and also the drive mechanisms to launch the train backwards and also forwards again after the reversing switch, and the reversing switch track would have to be that much heavier and therefore wouldn't be able to move. I'm fortunate enough to actually see the Disney Expedition Everest switch tracks operating. Now, they are gigantic things, they really are. And they're much more cumbersome than ours, much more cumbersome. I wanted our train, as soon as you came backwards out of the spiral with very little delay, the switch track to move across, and it then whiz straight back into the station with no waiting. So that, quite simply, is the reason why we went for the lightweight train. Now, as far as Intamin is concerned, Intamin have built a lot of drop tower rides with magnetic brakes. They seem to have got magnetic braking mechanisms well sorted. So the combination of roller coaster manufacturer who was familiar, because Intamin did the conversion of the Hyde Park screen tower, it seemed logical that we should go for Intamin. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much for a very entertaining lecture. You say that Alton hasn't got the scope to be able to do a giga coaster. There's that huge Garden Valley. I know that we had plans many, many years ago to build a wooden roller coaster.
Yeah.
Will Alton ever build a wooden one because of either planning or costs?
Well, there's two different points there. There's Woody and there's Cross Valley Coaster. Let's sort this Woody business out once and for all. And I hope you can understand this. Morwenna and I would love to build a Woody here. There is no doubt about it. I don't need any lobbying from people, believe me. The problem is, when you are owned by a big corporation like Merlin Entertainments, they want categorical proof, market research, that the ride will deliver. Now, we all know what fantastic rides Woodies are, okay? As soon as you put them to the test, as soon as you do market research, they bomb badly. I know you don't want to believe this. We've done it over and over again. We've tried to word the questions so that they're leading in the direction of people saying, yes, fantastic, that's just what you want. As you probably know, I was the person that originally proposed and did the layout and design of Megaphobia at Oakland. So I don't need any lobbying as far as building a Woody. Fortunately, the McNamara family, being a family concern, they did not need to convince anyone it was the right thing. But we have to convince our masters that a Woody is the right thing for Alton Towers, and Woodies do not research well.
Yeah,
am I saying it right?
We researched a Woody as part of the 13 ride development research process. And out of all the rides that we put into research, Woody came last. And the reason it is, if you're not into roller coasters in a big way, if you just want to come to a theme park for a good day out, the perception that, if you like, the general public have of wooden roller coasters is that they are unsafe. You know, I have to pull a P&L together, profit and loss account together every time we do something new at the resort. And if it involves a significant amount of money, then I have to prove that we're going to generate additional guests through the gate as a result of that investment. And a wooden roller coaster, unfortunately, just won't pay back. So at the moment, and for the foreseeable future, there won't be a wooden roller coaster at Alton Towers Resort.
But we're still doing absolutely everything.
We are.
Believe us, we are really still doing everything. Every time we have meetings at Merlin Entertainments, we are putting forward woodies. So that, I hope, clears a little bit of the air regarding woodies. Now let's talk about the Cross Valley Coaster. And yes, you're absolutely right. We have had a lot of plans, and the more observant of you a few years ago will have seen that we actually cleared a path through the trees, down the valley and up the other side, and there were survey marks. And it went out on the internet that we were building the Cross Valley Coaster. It is a very, very sensitive area as far as the planners and the locals are concerned. If we could do it, we'd love to. But it's not in our power. We've got the designs. We would be able, if it were a woody, it would be the tallest woody in the world. So when Morwenna wants some kind of unique selling point, if it were a woody, we would be able to create a woody with the tallest drop of any woody in the world if we did the Cross Valley Coaster. If it was going to be a steel coaster, we could find some other kind of unique selling point to it. But at the moment, it's very, very difficult indeed. And again, we try. But it's not ruled out. But
John and I would love one for SW7. So it's not off the planning table, but we can't make any promises. It's very difficult. Sorry?
yes, that's right, a new generation of residents. Yes, would you all like to buy houses in the village?
It's not actually the residents in Alton, it is the planning. And it's planning to do with height and noise, of course, but it's also to do with the ecological impact on the area of the valley. For those of you again familiar with the resort and the valley area, it's very beautiful, it's full of bats and flowers and birds and all sorts, and that's one of the planning challenges. It is a similar planning challenge to the one that we had at 13, actually, going through the woods. So, any more for any more?
Gentleman over there with a question.
I'm just going to this one.
We'll do you next, right?
I'm 10 years old and I'm extremely interested in roller coasters. How would I get into the industry when I'm older?
If I had £1 for every email I get on that subject. Two ways of answering that. First of all, look on my website, which I hope is helpful. But there are several different ways, and the easiest way is to work your way through the theme park business. In other words, come and work for Alton Towers, get work experience at Alton Towers, and do it that way. There are other ways. You can get an engineering degree and approach it from a technical standpoint. You can get a marketing degree and do it the way Morwenna's done it. There are lots of different routes. There's no easy answer, but if you're determined and you're tenacious and you've got the ability, then good luck, and I hope you succeed.
The other thing I would add to that is Merlin run a graduate scheme. So if you decide to go to university, and Merlin take people from university to work at the different attractions around the world. That's another way of doing it. So good luck.
Already mentioned SW7, obviously plans for the future. How full is the park, bearing in mind you've got planning constraints? Would any new future rides mean other rides have to be moved or indeed go the wave coaster?
Not necessarily. There are a number of places on the park that we've talked to the planners about. There is quite a lot of virgin land on the park that is not developed. So it wouldn't necessarily mean that we would have to lose something. But we have a completely open mind again with SW7. We're not, we've been chewing ideas around, but nothing has been decided, and hopefully we won't need to lose anything.
Other than your own, of course, what's the one coaster in the world that we should all ride?
I think the coaster that first did it all for me was the original Big Thunder Mountain Railroad in Disneyland, which really gave me a hell of a buzz because, again, such a broad spectrum of people rode it. And as I've said before, it's not difficult to terrify the living daylights out of people. It's much more difficult to make families feel as if they're having a great time, that they've achieved something, a great sense of achievement going on 13, for example. And I get a real buzz when you see complete families of 3 generations or more going on a ride like that. And that's certainly what Big Thunder Mountain Railroad did for me. And then, of course, there are some great woodies out there, there's no doubt about it. But yeah, to answer your question, it's got to be Big Thunder Railroad.
Yeah, at Thorpe Park they made that Saw ride.
Yes,
well, do you find, in marketing, rides that are themed on film sell better?
It's an interesting question. Saw was the first sort of IP that really Merlin had ventured into. Whether we do it at Alton for a large ride, I'm not sure. The reason being is that I'm keen, whilst I'm here anyway, to ensure that the rides that we have sold on their own benefits, their own uniqueness. 13 being a particular case in point. Instantly 13 is the first roller coaster to be named after a number in the world. Another first for you. So, I never say never. Saw last year a terrific launch. It's been phenomenally successful for Thorpe Park. People continue to go there, but the ride itself isn't absolutely unique. So we'd always look for uniqueness in the ride experience first, and then think about names and IPs afterwards. So we may have one for SW7. I don't know yet. We haven't got that far down the thinking process.
Hi, John. 13 is, for me, the new hex, watching families love the ride and come off and feel amazed. Do you think that Thorpe Park is exceeding in thrill rides when that used to be Alton Towers area in the UK? Do you know if SW7 is going to take the thrill seekers to a new level?
Well, I think Morwenna answered this better than me as far as Thorpe's market and Alton's market.
Thorpe has a very different positioning to us. Alton Towers Resort is all things to all people. We attract far more guests than Thorpe Park. We have a huge family base and we have a huge young adult base. We do research every year to monitor how we're scoring in terms of thrills and also family fun against Thorpe Park, and we are still #1 for thrills in the UK, despite the advances that Thorpe Park has made over the last couple of years. Their positioning is quite unique. They are out and out thrill. They make no secrets about it. We have to please both markets. This year we've done a family thrill ride. SW7 will be a 1.4 ride. It will be a white knuckle ride. For those of you who might be interested, that's the brief that's in at the moment. And then between now and then, we've got a number of smaller investments across the resort, which will be a mixture of family for next year, very family actually, and then 2012, something more sort of family thrill. So it's about getting the balance right. We're still the #1, and we're still the #1 for thrills, despite what Thorpe Park claimed.
Few people over here. Oh, all right, yeah, another one there. We'll come to you.
What were the problematic areas of overspeeding, which required the magnetic brakes to be added to 13?
Right.
And also, how long has Nemesis got?
How long has Nemesis got? as long as you want. As far as the overspeeding, now this is an interesting one, and this is all down to the lightweight trains. I don't want to be too technical on this, but basically, as you imagine, the lighter the train, the more significant the payload is in proportion to the total train. So that means that a fully loaded train is maybe twice the weight of an empty train, whereas with a very heavy train, if you take a Nemesis train, for example, the actual weight of the people on board a Nemesis train is fairly insignificant compared to the total weight of the train. Now, if you apply a fixed braking force to a lightweight train, obviously an unloaded train is going to be braked more than a loaded train, and this was the problem. And this is what Intamin have been working on for us. They're responding very well to this, and they're putting variable brakes around the track that are able to control the train. As I said before, we were absolutely adamant. We did not want over-the-shoulder restraints. We wanted to keep the height limit on the ride as low as possible so that it was suitable for families, and that meant we could not consider any negative Gs at all. So although those camelbacks are capable of really delivering a lot of negative G if we took all the brakes off, that was not what we set out to do. We want families to ride that ride. So hence the need for the brakes. I don't personally believe, and I've ridden it a couple of times today, you can hardly feel the brakes. I know trim brakes are a bit of an anathema when it comes to coaster enthusiasts, but I don't really think that they spoil the ride at all. But that in a nutshell is the technical problem that we've had to face. Yeah.
Hi John, I'm just asking, is it the last year for Nemesis?
Is it the last year for Nemesis? No, Nemesis is barely born. There's many more years of Nemesis. So, are you worried that you're not going to be able to ride it?
Yeah.
Well, you don't need to worry. You don't need to worry. You'll be able to take your grandchildren on it. That's a great question.
What do you think to Pleasure Island closing? It's better for mailing because now more people can come here. Now Pleasure Island's closed. Please vote, yeah.
Pleasure Island. It's open. In Freeport. Right. Well, I must admit, seaside amusement parks have been having a really hard time, and the owners of seaside amusement parks blame the likes of us because pay-one-price parks such as ourselves, if you were to put an admission charge on every single ride at Alton Towers, your day at Alton Towers would cost you an arm and a leg. And the cynics among you, I don't believe you can genuinely say a day at Alton Towers costs you an arm and a leg. I really do believe you get fantastic value for money here. But seaside amusement parks really are struggling, and they're closing left, right and centre. And I don't know what the answer is, I really don't. It's very sad, it's a tradition that's disappearing. Yeah.
We've got time for maybe one or two more, and then the first group will need to leave. But John and I are going to be around this evening, so you can grab us individually if you would later.
Is there any plans for the black hole tent in the near future?
Yeah.
We're acutely aware that it's wasted space, and in fact it's full of various bits of resort rubbish at the moment. We are looking at it, no promises. It is one of the options that's on the table for 2012. If we don't do something with it, then we'll certainly look at it after SW7, but it's definitely on my radar, yes. Right, one more question.
Who went up first?
Hi there, John. You're right. Yeah, does Alton Towers have any future dark ride ambitions? And will it be on the scale of stuff we've seen at Disney? We saw in your presentation the Imagineering side of things has taken a real step up. Yeah, so for the future.
Dark rides are interesting. To do a dark ride without using a licensed intellectual property is very difficult. I mean, the original haunted house here was a big gamble for us, and subsequently when it was converted to dual, that was given the interactive element. But we've not done a dark ride with a licensed intellectual property, and there's a very good reason for this. If you're going to design a ride, you'll probably need to life it for at least 10 years. Now, by the time we're aware of new films coming out or whatever that might have an intellectual property available and suitable for us, by the time we then design the thing and the film has come out or whatever, the ride kind of, you know, we might have missed the zenith, you know, things like Doctor Who and so on. So dark rides without an intellectual property are very, very difficult for us to do. You know, the successful dark rides that we've done around the group that haven't used intellectual properties have involved a generic intellectual property, and those are basically prehistoric monsters, pirates. You know, there are a few generic intellectual properties that you can, you know, everybody uses these, and I always say one day we're going to build a dark ride called It's a Small Haunted Caribbean Mansion. But dark rides are expensive, people's expectations are very high, and of course Hex is a very good example, because when we built Hex, it had no intellectual property. I know it's not a dark ride in the conventional sense of the word, but when we built Hex, people's expectations were very high indeed. They expected it was going to be the ultimate thrill ride, and in its first year it disappointed. And then, interestingly enough, as the years went by, the success of Hex has been going up and up and up. People aren't expecting it to be, you know, the latest blockbuster or whatever. So, you know, dark rides are very, very difficult. They are very expensive, but again, it is something that we are very seriously indeed. Yeah.
Maybe time for one more.
Young lady over here. Sorry, Wayne, you're having to run around. I'm not allowed to talk about Thorpe Park here. Morwenna would murder me. They're all fantastic, but Alton Towers rides are even better.
Does that answer your question? Probably not.
Not really. No. Oh, she mentioned Alton Towers. My favourite. Well, I suppose I have a soft spot for Nemesis. Am I allowed to have a soft spot for Nemesis?
Surprisingly, my favourite ride is 13.
Right. Touche.
Okay. Right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you've enjoyed the presentations and the meal, and that you enjoyed the behind-the-scenes tours that you're about to go on very shortly. Those of you who are in the first group, if you could wait outside at about 6:20, and then the team will take you down there. I've just got a couple of thank yous, the first of which is obviously to our fantastic guest speaker, John Wardley. To the team who have put this event on for you today. In particular, I'd like to thank Wayne Burton. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. The bar's open. This room is available to you until 9 o'clock, and don't forget to take your goodie bags with you. Thank you very much.